Once, when I was 6 years old, I believed something very simple. That what is most important is invisible to the eye.
This is our little
Talk a little bit about adapting the classic to a feature film and finding a way in which to reintroduce it to a new audience and maybe to some of its older readers in 2016.
Well, it is an incredibly challenging book to adapt because it's incredibly poetic and it really lives in the imagination of the reader. That's one of the magical things about the book is, everyone who reads it gets a different experience because it really asks you to bring yourself into the experience of reading the book. I had a very strong personal connection with the book. It was given to me by my wife back when we were just dating in college, like more than 25 years ago. And so that book was a really powerful bond between us. And I knew how strong, a presence the book could be in someone's life. I wanted to find a different approach. I didn't want to just take the book and stretch it out. It's not movie shaped at all. And that's when I came up with the idea of using a larger story about somebody experiencing the book, this little girl who's reading the story and how it changes her life and brings magic into her life. And that was something that I really wanted to not just adapt the book, but adapt sort of the power of the book and what it's become in our world. It's really brought magic into so many people's lives that's what we were trying to capture, the power of the book.
Once upon a time, there was a little prince who lived on a planet that was scarcely bigger than himself.
Tell us a little bit about how these characters were created and how you did the work.
What I'm really excited about is we're using different animation techniques to really support the story. And the little girl's world is reality, and that is rendered in computer animation. And we create a sort of a real look for the paper that exists in that world because we really wanted the paper to be very visceral, something you feel like you could touch. And then when she imagines the story and when she hears the story and reads the story, we wanted to go into her imagination and we wanted that to feel like it's really her invention of what the reality of that story is. And so we chose to use paper as a way to render her imagination, the version of the Little Prince story in her own imagination. Everything that light hits is actually made out of paper. The clothing, the scarf, the face, the heads are made out of it's like a clay called paper clay. It hardens like clay, but it has the texture of paper. And this allowed us to really keep a very strong connection, not only to the paper that the little girl is reading the story on, but the paper that, we all have read the story or any book, that paper is such a familiar, material that we really wanted to use it to celebrate.
It's the texture of literature.
I'm not so sure I want to grow up anymore.
Growing up is not the problem. Forgetting is.
How long did it take you to make this film?
Forever. It's like I was involved with the project for about 5.5 years total, from the first phone call to the finishing of the film. Our production was about 2 full years in Montreal. We did our pre-production in Paris, which was actually incredible. I was hired to come and make the movie in Paris, and I moved there with my family, and we lived there for 2 years. But we ended up actually doing all the production in Montreal. It became a French-Canadian co-production, and so then we relocated to finish the movie. And a lot of the artists that started on the project in France traveled with the movie and came with us to Montreal to finish it. It became incredibly important to everybody on the project to really tap into what they felt about the book so that we could really try to make the film a universal take. It's a personal take, but it's also a very universal take.